Hi guys, I'm here with my 2009 Mini Cooper R56. I'm finally going to tackle changing the thermostat, which is back down in there, and because I got an engine warning light and it's related to the thermostat. Let's go read the code on the engine. Okay, there's the engine warning light that's on. It came on back in fall, and had to do the thermostat, and I cleared it. And since it got cold outside, it kind of fooled the engine, knowing that thinking the thermostat was still running properly, and I think it's stuck open. So basically, when I in the past, the engine temperature will get up be around 200, maybe sitting still. After it's warmed up, we'll get up to 210, 220. But now when I'm driving, even when the car is fully warmed up on a hot day, I only get about to 180, 190 at most. So that tells me that I think it's stuck open. So in other videos, I've used the same decoder reader for the car. So let me go over to BMW. It's loading. Then I'm going to do a manual select. Then, hold on a second, it's hard to read, screen's hard to read. Let me turn off the light for the phone, so that way I can read the screen. Okay, let's zoom in close. So these are all the different BMW series. So if you want the minis, it's the last one on the list. Then it's R56. Oh, I think I double clicked on there. So let's try that one. Hit OK to go to the next page. Let's read the trouble codes. So here, what I get is the 2F07 DME map thermostat mechanism. So I'm going to go ahead and change out the cooling thermostat. It's a whole kind of like unit system that comes on all together. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and clear the code, so I don't have to go back in here. Okay, so let's go up to the tools. Okay, so this is basically what you're going to try to pull out and change out. It actually sits on the side of the engine just like this. This connects to another pipe, which I'm going to go ahead and change. I read online to go ahead and change this if you're already in there. And this runs behind the engine to the water pump, I believe. So I'm going to go ahead and change that too. I bought this on Rock Auto. That's the brand I bought. It's actually made in Italy, which is odd. Made in Italy. Okay, there's a lot of places online on YouTube videos on how to change it out. but actually the best instructions I found was actually a website. It's a printed version. It's on bmwrepairguide.com, and mine's the MIni R56 thermostat replacement. So this one actually goes step by step, and I'm going to actually follow this one. And they actually move a lot more stuff. They actually remove all the wiring, the disconnect, so that way you can pull that whole harness away and get right to the whole thing. I have my other manual here. Just make sure I get the torques right. Compare those torques with whatever torques they say in here. And let's turn the pages and see what we need. Okay, this is all the tools that they say you need. There's a T30 Torx, an 8mm hex, a 10mm socket wrench, a torque wrench to put it back on, some metal picks, screwdriver, flat blade, and a CRC brake clean. I think that's to clean the area. Basically, use that to clean the surface after you remove it. So we'll go ahead and start with step 1, and I'm gonna go work through all the steps. Okay, not gonna waste in showing you how to do it, but step 1, remove the negative terminal, because you'll be disconnecting a whole bunch of connectors off your over there in the engine. So you don't want to short anything out for safety reasons. So that's step 1. Okay, step 2, remove the intake manifold here. And yours doesn't look like that because in another video I replaced it. Yours would look like this one. This is stock. So let me go ahead and take off these and take that off, and the one in the back, and loosen it, and I'll go ahead and remove that section. Okay, I got this out. Basically there's no hose clamps in the back. Now I remember. Basically once you loosen the front end, you turn it, and then you'll be able to slide it out. It's like a little locking thing. You can see that that's what these are, and the old one has it too, and that's what these are here. So basically when you reinstall it, it's at a slight angle. Put it in 12 and 6 o'clock, and then you turn it, it kind of locks it in. Step 3, they say go ahead and just push this out of the way and tie it up with a bungee cord to get it out of the way. So you get a bungee cord. Okay, got this out. Basically you gotta push it down in the hole so you could slip this from underneath this big fat cable, which I actually added extra heat protection over that. So there's that, and let's see what step number 4 is. Okay, step 4 is to remove the camshaft sensor. So let's go ahead and unplug that. Okay, disconnect it, and this one is by lifting up the tab over this little knob, and they have a good suggestion. Go ahead and put yellow tape on it as you remove things, so when you go back to remember to put everything back together. So that was that step, and let's see what the next step is. Oh, this one, got one up here, need to get the other one down here, so I'll remove that one and put yellow tape on it. Okay, step 5 is to remove the vacuum hose, and you squeeze it right here. You see this little button right here? Squeeze on the side and pull it off. And by the way, in the beginning of this document they say this should only take about 3 hours, so let's see how long it takes. Well, I'm filming too. Okay, vacuum hose comes off pretty easy. Like I said, pull that, slides right off. Now they want me to remove this cover, so let me go ahead and use a flathead screwdriver. You stick it in there and help the tabs, remove the tabs, take off the cover. Well, it's not just the tabs. You gotta take off that, I'm guessing a 10mm bolt right there to help it get off. So gotta take that out. That's holding the cover down. Okay, the left side came out pretty easy. The right side, it was really tight. So screwdriver didn't work, so I used the pick. Get a pick in there so that way you could between the tab and the outside, and just get enough so that way it could slip over that little lip. And don't forget the 10mm. Okay, the reason they want you to get in there is to remove the first two plugs, and that's because it runs with this cable, so you could get out. I got to cut my tie there because I have all these other extra wiring. And so basically you push down on this, and I think you rotate it forward, and that helps push it up. Let's see if that's what happens. Yep, basically that's what you do. You push this tab down, rotate it, make sure you rotate it all the way. You actually hear it like click kind of forward, which is actually causing it to push undo it off the connector here. Okay, step 8, they want you to remove this from the mount here, and I actually unplugged it first, and that was by squeezing this tab, but that's because I was having a hard time getting off. And it says just pull it free. You do not pull it free. It's sitting here vertical. You rotate it about 45, then pull it out. If you see that this is kind of like a rectangle, so it locks in by turning it. Let me show you the picture that they have. So that's what gave it away, that you don't just pull it out. It says right here, pull the wiring harness plastic anchor free from the bracket. Well, you don't pull it. You have to rotate it counterclockwise, quarter 45 degrees, because you see it slotted here. Then it'll be lined up with the triangle, the rectangle on the other side, and it'll just pop off. I'll put some yellow tape on that. Okay, this is the rest of step 8, and I'm not sure what they mean here because I don't know what, I'm looking at the engine. I can't figure it out. So it says, what they're saying is, next grab the wiring harness and pull it up and off the thermostat. The wiring harness has 2 plastic tabs on the bottom that fit into 2 holes in the plastic housing. So they have this picture, and then they have this picture. So I know that picture is it facing up, and I'm not sure what the other picture is of this one. I know that's the wiring bracket harnessing that slides onto, so maybe they want me to slide that off. But looking on the car, let me show you. Okay, I think they want me to slide this up and out of the way, but for me, if I do that, it's going to hit this sensor. So I'm going to unplug this one first before I try to slide this up. And this is an extra, you won't see this on stock. This is an extra pressure sensor I stuck in for the oil. Okay, I'm not sure how much of step 8 where I was doing really worked in terms of trying to move that, but this is the one that was in my way, so I went ahead and disconnected it, which was step 9. Oh, by the way, there's like 30 some steps that's broken up into. So now they want to disconnect the coolant temperature from the top of the thermostat. So let's look at it on the car. Okay, there's the coolant thermostat, but right there, the plug. But I couldn't move this much out of the way because it's still connected to all this crap over here. And I have my other oil pressure sensor there. So I'm going to wait on getting to that to see if I can get to it better later. I don't know if my printout was messed up, but I don't have a step 10. So I'm on step 11, and it wants me to pull out the Centric shaft position sensor. It says just grab it and pull it up. So here it is on the car. Grab, pull it up. And there it is. So it goes like that. It's probably keyed so it could go in only a certain way. Okay, this is where it gets different than a lot of the YouTube videos. They, in a lot of the YouTube videos, they just work around trying to get to the bolts there. In this instructions, they want to go ahead and move this so you can move this whole harness, this whole bracket harness out of the way, basically. And basically, you got to unplug everything inside there. So no big deal. I'm gonna go and do it their way, just so I could struggle less getting down to the bottom there. So basically, take off the cover with the Torx. This is kind of weird. You cannot do that. You cannot take this cover off without taking off that oil cover. So basically you do, and then here it doesn't show it on. So basically you have to take off the oil filler cover to be able to take off the cover, and then step 13 is go ahead and disconnect those. So that's what I did there. I took this off, took out the two. That's where the Torx comes in handy. But the key is, after you get the cover off, put that back on so you don't drop crap in there by accident. Okay, step 14, disconnect the front exhaust Vanos solenoid by lifting the tab. So never disconnected that, so let's see where that is on the car. So basically these, lift them up, pull them out. That's straightforward, and there it is right there. So pull or squeeze the tab and I'll disconnect that. I'll go ahead and cut the tie wraps because I'm pretty sure they're going to tell me to cut all these, so I can move that whole harness out of the way. Okay, to get that one out, it's a lift. So you lift this tab, and the easiest way to do that for me, not a screwdriver, was using one of my picks. And these don't need to be cut because you can just get in there. They're clips. Again, use a pick to pry them up like that. So you don't need to cut those. I did have to cut. I want to go ahead and cut that one, and I'll put a new tie wrap on that. So I bought a whole set of picks just for this job. Let me show you. So got a whole bunch of picks, right angle, straight, bent. Ooh, look at this one, curved. So got them on Amazon, really cheap. So I think they've come in handy so far. Okay, back from lunch. Everything's connected except for this ground, and gonna need a size 8mm to take that off. Okay, got that off, and then there's one more of these clips that holds on this thing, so use my pick tool and I'll take that one off. Okay, they wanted me to fold this harness back, but I see I still have this cable and that connector and the one down there to disconnect, to be able to disconnect it so I can move this harness out of the way. Okay, for these connectors, the blue one, you slide this red thing over and then pull the connectors apart. For this one, it's facing down like this, so you just squeeze this tab and pull it up. So I think everything is loose, so let me see if there's anything else and see what step I'm on. Okay, remember earlier I forgot I didn't plug this one out from that way down in there, the water temp sensor. So this one's kind of tricky to get. Use a pick and basically just get a pick underneath there to lift up this tab, and then it'll just slide right out. So I think everything's loose now. Now I can go ahead and just move the wire harness out of the way. Okay, there's the one that I think earlier they wanted me to disconnect and I missed it, which is this one in the back, to disconnect that one. Okay, once again, it's really hard to get this one off because the axis is underneath. So what I use is I use a pick and got on the other end here and of this tab here and push the pick in, and then I was able to slide out. So I used the right angle pick on that one. So now I think I'm completely disconnected everywhere. So that's why you take off all that extra wiring, is so you can get this out of the way, and there's the part I need to get to. So let me see what step I'm on because I'm kind of losing track on that. Okay, 18, this is what I did. It's free now. Fold it back out of the way. Clear access to the thermostat. And there it is. Now we're in section 2, which is removing the MIni R56 thermostat. Okay, now I'm going to start removing the hoses, upper hoses, and put a drip pan underneath to catch anything you want. This goes spill out, so we can grab some pliers and put the drip pan underneath. And we start with that. Wow, look at all the coolant top of the engine now. Now I'm thinking I should have put some kind of towel there or something. Because now there's just a crap load of coolant on top of the engine just sitting there. So before you do it, try stuffing some towels in there to soak up a lot of that before it goes into the pan. It'll save you the trouble later. Okay, the next one I'm going to try to get is this one, which is underneath. And that's why you have to remove the two top ones, but you can't really get to the clip this way underneath there. So you take this one off. Okay, I got it off. It was stubborn. You can't really just grab and start pulling, because I think what it actually do is it actually, when you pull on it, it stretches it and then it actually bites down on it more. So what you do is, as you're wiggling it off, get a screwdriver and put on the tip and help push it outward as you're wiggling it out, and then it comes off really easily. Okay, the next one they want me to get is that hose right there. Just go ahead and disconnect that one. Okay, there are two hoses. This was the upper hose. You can remember it has this ribs on it. And then there was a lower one there too that I disconnected, which is right here. So don't get those confused when you put them back to upper, ribs, lower, no ribs. Okay, after all the hoses, then pull up on this clip, and that's the clip where this end connects to, back way in the back. And then after that, I apparently can go ahead and unbolt it with a 10mm socket. Okay, before I do that, there's the clip. This is a new one I bought, and I'm going to replace this. So I can see I'm going to need, I guess it's this way, 3 bolts I need to take out. So I'm going to go ahead and take out the air filter box. Okay, to take this out, all you do is use a 10mm. I disconnected this, and that was a 7, maybe a 7, and just unclip this. My yellow tape coming off, and then it pulls off. There's nothing. It feels like it's bolted in the back, but it's not. What it is these rubber grommets that sit on those 2 studs, so it just pulls straight out. So now, actually, I think I get to it a little bit easier. Okay, that clip is like way in there, down in there. So basically, if you stick your finger in there, you'll feel the clip. And what I did is I used a pick. I stuck my finger at the end of the pick, and that way I could feel where the clip is. And once I feel the clip, I guided this pick in and just lifted it up. So that should be loose. So let me go ahead and unbolt the thermostat with a 10mm. Okay, looking at the new one, I got 3 to take out. 1 on top, 1 way back there, pain in the butt, 1 on the bottom. Okay, I took out those 3 bolts, so I'm going to do exactly what it is. I should be able to pull this side, the front side, and push on the other side. It must have to twist out a little bit, so let's try that. And it wasn't that hard taking out those bolts, especially with the wire harness out of the way, so I'm glad I spent the time moving that wire harness out of the way. So let me see if I could videotape while actually removing it. Should have thought of this a long time ago. Stole this from my daughter, this bracket. So I'll put my phone on that and see if I can get a good shot. Okay, here we go. Pull and push. Pull feels loose. It still feels like there's one thing holding it on. Oh, it's that clip, right? I have to clip it off the back. So that's why they want to do it that way. Because of this thing that's still connected back here. Uh-oh. That sucks. Sounds like you cracked the old one, but it doesn't matter because I'm gonna put a new one in. You gotta be very careful with that back one. I heard a little bit of a crack there in the back on that tube. So I don't know what that means. We'll see once I get that out. If that's cracked. Put a jigsaw trying to get this thing out. Yay! Okay. See this one? I don't know if you can see it. It's open. It should be closed. So mine's stuck open. And let me show you what the new one looks like. And there's the new one. And it's closed. So mine's been stuck open for months. Since November, I think, of October, November of last year. So let me figure out how to take it. The instructions don't tell you how to take out that back pipe, so I'll try to work through that and give you some guidance if you're going to do that. Okay, I'm back. Actually, this is floating. So you got this end on the water pump and this end that's connected to your thermostat assembly. So it's actually floating in there. These tabs are not bolts to hold it on. It's actually, there's a wiring harness attached to, I know, at least this one right here. And I'm going to see if I can get a shot of it. So I'm going to pop that one loose, and apparently you're just supposed to pull this straight out. I watched a video on 1A Auto. They have a lot of tutorials on there how to do that, and he kind of went through it and removing this. So that's 1A the number 1, the letter A, auto.com. So we got underneath. So I had to jack up the car. So obviously I couldn't drive the car up onto ramps. So basically, had a jack, put a piece of wood, jack up underneath the rail there, and then put some jack stands. I have these donuts. Let me see, that I bought on Amazon. So they actually fit in that little thing where the where it holds up the car. So I put this on top of the jack stand so it doesn't mess up the that little square box underneath there, and this fits right underneath it. So car's jacked up, and get underneath it and show you where that wiring harness is. Right there in the middle, there's a wiring harness that's attached to it a little bit. So I'm gonna pop that off, and it's about in the middle of the screen, 2/3 down. So that's what I'm gonna try to pop off with a long screwdriver. Okay, popped it off. Let me see if I can get a good shot of it. I'm not even sure what I'm looking at right now. Just because I'm not seeing it right there. Popped it off. So this back pipe should just pull straight out. So let me get back up on top of the car. Okay, watching that 1A Auto, he had his arm like way down in there, pulling it out. I can't find my needle nose pliers anywhere in the house, so I got a couple of them, can't find any of them, so I'm going to use these. Try to grab it and just wiggle it out, basically. Okay, it's like pulling someone's wisdom teeth out. So I pulled it out, but I'm stuck here. I cannot figure out how to get this out unless I unbolt this, so I can move these out of the way on this. off its bracket. What does that go to? Looks like the clutch or something. Yeah, it looks like the clutch, or the shifter. But I'm gonna try it a little bit more. He didn't do anything to take that off in the other video, so I'm gonna play around and see if I can get it off without having to unbolt that. Okay, the video from 1A Auto, it looks like he's working on an automatic transmission. So with an automatic transmission, you do not have these two cables here that's in the way of getting that hose out. So I'm going to loosen the two bolts here, which allowed me to shift this and probably be able to slide that out. Hopefully everything, this is unknown territory, so I couldn't find any videos where someone was doing it with a manual. So hopefully things just don't go springing and up, coming apart. So these look like torque. So let me go grab that and take those out. Okay, I used 14mm torque, and I used my impact to get those off. They seem to be pretty tight. My smaller impact would not take them off, so I had to go with the big impact wrench, which looks like that. So I use that to take them off, and they have pretty good free play now. So I could slide this out of the way or lift it up. So I think I could slide it out now. Yahoo, got it out. So basically to get this out, pretty tricky. So once I loosened this, I lifted it up and went underneath it. Then there's like a little pocket in here. So you gotta drive it in all the way into that pocket. Then back it back out through here and lift it up. There's only if you have a manual. So let me see, let's take a look at the what's wrong with it. Okay, just like in the 1A Auto, this piece broke. That holds the O-ring. Looks just like that. And so I gotta go all the way in there and fish out that ring and the O-ring so it doesn't end up in the water pump. Now looking on the other end, I think this is what cracked when I was trying to take off the water pump. I mean, not the water pump, the thermostat housing assembly. So that's the crack that I heard right there. So let me go and for him to fish out those pieces, he just stuck his arm way in there and pulled out all the pieces. So let me see if I can do that. Okay, I don't know how in that 1A Auto video he was able to snake his hand from the top all the way down behind the engine to grab these pieces out. So what I did is I went underneath, and if you look at the right crack through the toward the front right of your angle, you'll see the hole for the water pump. And then basically you can't grab it with your fingers in there, so I just used a pick, went in there, and I was able to pull out these pieces, O-ring, and the little plastic piece that goes on the end. So let's go back and look at the car. Okay, so that's what my car looks like now. Pulled out they actually call it a crossover pipe. Pulled out the thermostat assembly, and so I just need to clean it and start assembling. So actually I'm going to go end this video and make it as a part 1, and then I'll do a part 2 and in installing everything, because I am tired and I'm actually going to quit for the day and start back up tomorrow. And so go look on pulling your stuff out. It's not that bad. I think part of that crossover, which was a pain in the butt, but it was not that bad. But I do recommend, if you do take out your assembly, probably do want to change out that crossover. That is some brittle plastic. So look for my part 2 video in installing the crossover and the thermostat assembly. Good luck on yours. Thanks for watching.